Hey everybody, it's Jeff back with another weekly installment of the most interesting coin auctions. These aren't necessarily the ones that sell for the most, but have the most interesting backstory. And I also like to kind of compare how the prices have been versus similar comps to give you a sense of where the market is trending, especially on certain series. To Before we get into the most interesting ones, I wanted to highlight where the actual top toners sold for. And if you missed this video, look about 2 or 3 videos back. I'm going to start each week highlighting the most interesting toner auctions that are happening live. So if you like them, you could still bid on it. And I also want to provide comps and then my estimate of where the sale price is going to be, which is included on that video. So definitely check it out. Given that, I highlighted where I thought they were going to be. I figured I'd highlight where they actually sold for. This first one is a really nicely toned 3-cent nickel. As you can see, Proof 66 Plus has a CAC sticker, a cameo to boot. This one, if you recall, actually sold a couple times for under where it ended up selling for, 1,969 bucks. This is one of those scenarios where Great Collections started it at a high price. I think the previous comp, the sale itself of this exact coin was like $1,850. Well, they started it at a bid of $1,750, which when you include buyer's premium, takes it to this $1,969. So it won on a single bid. So somebody kind of took the bait and bought it. A really nice coin. Honestly, it wasn't asking too much. I think that's up in terms of where the rest of the market is up. So whoever bought this, I felt like bought at a fair price given the current market. The next Proof V nickel, 67 plus CAC. This is top pop. There's only 2 in the grade, none finer. I don't know if the other one has a CAC sticker, so this probably is the best, if not one of the best. And honestly, didn't sell for that much. Now, granted, it's not cameo. I'm pretty confident there's no deep cams, but I don't think there's any 67 plus cameos in this year. So whether you consider a 67 cameo higher than a 67 plus without it, it's up to you. But I was kind of surprised by the relative weakness. And I've always monitored V-nickels, and they just don't sell that well. And I've owned a few myself. And I admit the design just kind of leaves a little bit to be desired. It's just not that nice, kind of a flat design. Whereas I'm always a fan of the Buffalo nickel. It looks almost like a carving. You just don't quite get that depth with the V-nickel. But this is a nice coin, certainly. Real nice toning, top pop, and to pick it up for just 4,000 bucks. When it's top pop with a CAC sticker is really a good deal for whoever bought that. Next up was a toned Roosevelt dime. Not even a cameo, not a deep cameo. 1952, which is the earlier in the proof sets, but still fairly common, but not common this nicely toned. And I've looked at a lot of them this year, and really just not many that have nicely toned like this. So typically, if I recall, these sell for $30 to $60 in that grade, and this will end up selling for 305 bucks, which is certainly a nice pickup for anyone on the lower budget. Next was a very nicely toned Washington quarter. Really nice to see this result because Washington quarters have kind of lost a little bit of love recently. If anything, you pick them up for a decent deal, but this is a really nicely toned one. Has that nice rainbow look. Just a beautiful toning on the obverse there. 67 plus, CAC approved, and this sold extremely strong. And if I recall, this one actually traded hands within the year for about 2,200. Definitely check out the video. I have that in the video. So this was up quite a bit. Very nice result for the seller. And then last was the really nicely toned Morgan dollar. Again, another scenario where an 85 Philly and a MidState 64 is typically about a $70 to $90 coin. And this one sold for $717, mainly because of that really nice toning. So let's get into the interesting auctions here. And I wanted to start with really an 09 SVDB, the most popular key date, and in my opinion, most or if not all of the hobby. And a very nice grade, MidState 64 red. I mean, right away, this is near the top of the key date here. But it really still blows my mind. A coin that's seemingly rare has 1,000 in the grade with 1,251 finer. That's a lot. But needless to say, it's a popular coin. And even though the supply is not necessarily that small, you think about it, you could have bought that Proof 67 plus V-nickel that has 2 in the grade with none finer for about the same price as this one. This is ended up selling for $4,000 as well, which, as you can see, is well above the PCGS price guide. This doesn't even have a CAC sticker. And I promise you, great collections definitely would have sent this to CAC. You look at the picture, and there's a few black marks on both the obverse and reverse. I guess I'm not that good at grading these to know if this would be considered nice for a 64, but it's clearly a red coin. Maybe a tint of brown there, but overall, very nice coin, but sold for a great price. I wanted to compare. I went back and looked at MidState 64 reds without a CAC sticker, and I took the average for the year, and you could see these, for the most part, from 2016 to 2019, traded hands for $19.50 to $21.50. It edged up in 2020, and this is really a standalone sale, $4,000. I mean, way, way up. It'll be interesting to see if another one does eventually come up for sale this year, what it sells for, but really a strong result for this coin. Next, wheat cent. This is just a stunning coin. MidState 67 red, top pop, 4 in the grade. Now this is a variety S over S, and I included the PCGS image so you could kind of see a little bit of that. I've never been a variety guy, so I don't necessarily see the appeal for this, but obviously it creates rarity within a grade here. I mean, 09S without the VDB is already a pretty rare coin, but not necessarily 4 with none finer and $26,000 price guide. This one ended up selling for right on the price guide, which there's not many comps, but there are a couple. As you can see, in the past, a non-CAC sold for 16 grand, which was really cheap. But when you look at the coin, it was probably the roughest looking of the 4 in the grade. So understandable how that sold for so little. And then a very nice non-CAC in 2018, which almost looked like this coin. So I don't know if CAC was tougher on that one, didn't slab it or just didn't even look at it. But that sold for $24,000. So a strong sale, but not necessarily blowing it out of the water here. And then this was a really cool coin because it's Pop 1 none finer at NGC. It has a price guide of $52,500. I mean, a deep mirror proof like MidState 67, 85cc, has all the things going for it. It has some pretty nice rim toning on the obverse and reverse, as you could see in the picture. I looked at PCGS. There are 2 in the grade with none finer, and I couldn't find a recorded sale of the NGC one, so it may have sold. I just couldn't find it. The 2 at PCGS, as you can see, hadn't sold for at least 6 years. In 2008, one sold for $51,000. In 2015, one sold for $38,000. Well, this ended up hammering at $23,000, which was actually dirt cheap in my opinion. Really an overall a good buy at just half the price guide value was kind of surprising. I consider this kind of cheap for the coin. And then you got this coin. This was definitely the surprise. There's always one surprise of the week. This was it. I do my typical filter, and this showed up. And I was like, what? I mean, a modern silver commemorative. I mean, it's 90% silver at just over 3/4 of an ounce, 116,000 minted. And I just don't know modern commemoratives. So this may, for those who know it, be an obvious rarity in the grade because it's sold for $1,406. And I was like, that seems outrageous. I thought nobody liked modern commemoratives. And yeah, the Olympics in Los Angeles was a big deal, but still. And I looked at PCGS website, and it turns out there's just 20 graded MidState 70, obviously none finer. This must have been a very difficult coin to get into a MidState 70 holder. This is absolutely a scenario where the slab is what makes this coin valuable versus the coin itself. I was looking at MidState 69s, and they're almost indistinguishable in terms of looks. I mean, I'm sure there's a tiny speck somewhere that took it down to MidState 69. You could buy it at a tiny fraction, 1/20th of the price almost, or I guess 1/10 of the price of this one. So thought that was interesting. All we have for the week. Thanks for watching. Take care.